I've been at this for the past 12 weeks, and one thing is for sure. I came at it with blissful ignorance, hoping for the best, thinking it was going to be easier than what it's been. And I found out that I didn't know jack. So here we are, week 12 of my weight loss journey. Started back in May of this year. Effectively, today is July 17th. And I've got some things I want to point out that I've learned, and I think it's going to help many of you. Again, welcome to the framework. This is my weight loss journey. For those of you that are just joining me, I started this back in May of this year. My goal was to lose, my goal is to lose 100 pounds. At my heaviest, I was 356 pounds. As I said before you today, I am 314 pounds. Yes. And I didn't drop that weight in the last 3 months. That's been over a couple of years of me kind of meandering through this weight loss journey. Again, I came in this hopeful, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed and wide-eyed. 12 weeks ago, I started this journey of mine, my fitness journey. For all intents and purposes, focused weight loss journey, and, would include different aspects of the weight loss game, not just want to lose weight. I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to gain flexibility. I want to basically be at my best when I'm getting longer in the tooth. That being said, I've said it before, my goal is to age capable, because we all age. We're all going to die someday. But I have to tell you guys, it's been 12 weeks, and I want to apologize because I said I was going to post a video a week, and I allowed life to get, not in my way, but get the best of me at times, and I haven't posted in, I want to say, 8 or 9 weeks. So from week 4 to 11, that's 8 weeks, if you include 4. I haven't posted. But that doesn't mean that I've completely given up on my goal to lose 100 pounds. And if you're just joining me, that's my goal. That's been my goal from the beginning. I started this channel to hold me accountable, and it's been an uphill battle. So for this episode, as it's titled, I Know Nothing. It's true, because many of the things that I've come to learn, I hadn't presently identified them. So it's all new to me, and it's a good thing. I don't want to paint a bad light on it, because my flaws and my failures continue to teach me. So I envision myself dropping 100 pounds in 2 years, right? My goal, I started this at 47, I think. And by the time I hit 50, I wanted to be at my goal weight of 220. That is still the goal, the weight of 220. However, I'll be 50 in a couple of weeks, and there's no way that I'm going to lose 100 pounds. So coming to the realization of that probably a few weeks ago, I think it's what got me in the trajectory of sort of falling off. But I'm not that's not the excuse. I don't have an excuse. I just think that I probably wasn't mentally prepared for the onslaught of information that I was going to receive during this process once I took it serious. And I've been fighting weight loss most of my life. And many of you might not know, but at my heaviest, I was 356 pounds. I'm now 314, which is great. However, this weight loss didn't happen in the last few months. It's happened over several years. And although it is good, I feel the pressure of having to lose weight more intentional now than I did a few years ago because of what I've been learning. And that is something that I don't want to just be okay with. I want it to hit me deep because I have to be cut deep for me to get moving. That's one thing that I've always had. I like doing things that involve me my way. I hope that makes sense. I don't like placating people. I don't like to be forced to do things that involve me. Now, if it came to helping someone else, I'm all over it. I'll give them the shirt off my back and walk my happy fat behind home. Like it's not a big deal. But when it comes to things that I want to do for me, there's a certain way that I need to do them in order for me to feel that sense of accomplishment. And the underlying reasons for that is I'd like learning about myself. But these past few weeks, I've learned so much about myself that honestly, I don't think I was prepared. So in this episode or this video, I just want to bring you guys in and let you see what I'm contending with or what I found out about myself that I think is going to create a better platform for me to go ahead and propel myself forward. See, it's a funny thing when you have life experience because you're not caught up with when these surprises happen. Like I'm just starting to learn more about myself, more in depth, an in-depth version about myself that maybe I've been hiding for all these years. But I take it as not a shock factor. It's not going to shake my foundation and have me stop what I'm doing. It's actually helping me settle in and not in a lazy way, but when warriors prepare for battle, they don't just stand straight. They kind of crouch down and settle in, whether it be sand, mud, dirt, whatever. They're ready to absorb the impact of war. And that's what these last few weeks have been for me. It's brought so much to light about myself that it's causing me, or no, that's a bad choice of word, that it's putting me in a place mentally that I needed. And it's appropriately so making me settle in to get ready for that battle that I have for my weight loss and my fitness. I'm still diabetic. I'm still fat. I'm probably at the low end of 40% BMI. 40. No, I'm up there in the BMI 46. I think it is. So things aren't good in numbers' sake. Now, physically, like a lot of us take this for granted. But I can do air squats. I can do push-ups. I can do one-legged, like Romanian squats or split squats. I can Bulgarian split squats. I can do pull-up, maybe no more than 2, but I can do pull-ups, strict pull-ups. I can do dips. And this is me at 314 pounds. So it's not like I'm just a blob, a figure on the couch. I can get around. I have fun when I'm at the mats of justice and I'm rolling around, but it's all fun to me because there's an intended goal. So all that to say that, my 314 pounds, although my numbers don't look good at the moment, I don't present physically what they are, which it's a plus for me because I'm able to get around and I'm able to effect change on those numbers by doing the physical work. So with that, let's get into what I've learned about myself in the last 8 weeks. Now, mind you, I posted week 0, week 1 and 2. Go take a look at those. I think they'll prove to be insightful. And also prepare you if you just started watching me this episode. We get candid. I don't fluff. We don't play around. I'm fat. You're probably fat. You probably know somebody that's fat. But the purpose of this channel is not to call out names or judge, but to accept the reality of the situation. You're not going to get any better by beating around the bush. If you run out of breath because you got to bend over to tie your shoelaces, you're out of shape. If you go up 2 flights of stairs and you're leaning on the wall or on a railing when you get to the top, you're out of shape. If you have a tough time getting off the couch, you're out of shape. If you can't do a full squat where, your butt is almost to the grass because you have to spread your legs so much because your gut's in the way, you're fat and out of shape. And that's not good. So we're going to leave that at that. But this is the type of channel information that we're going to put out here. I'm not going to beat around the bush because I need this information just as much as you might. All these videos are for me to look back on and remind myself where I was. Remind myself who I can become again if I allowed myself to slip. So I don't want that for me. I don't want that for you. So gird up your loins. Come to terms that if you're fat, you're fat. If you're obese, you're obese. I am considered morbidly obese because of my weight and BMI. I may not look it, but I'll tell you what, there's days that I feel like it. So let's stop the nonsense. We're grown men. Let's just talk about it and let's learn from each other. So these last 8 weeks, week 4 through 11, I haven't posted anything because I have allowed, like I said, life to set in and get the best of me. And what I mean about that is not all bad things. Our business is doing great. Life with the family, we're doing great. Spirituality, spiritually, we're doing pretty good. I say pretty good because you can always improve. I feel like spiritually, not in the dumps, but I feel like there's so much for me to learn that I'll never catch up. And that's great for me because it keeps me in that pursuit. Yeah. So I've been doing okay. I've been still getting workouts in, but they haven't been consistent. I'll put that out front. I've been half-assing my workouts. And I'll get 3 or 4 in a week when I was doing 7. And then those 3 or 4 that I would get in, they would be 30 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe tipping 40. I was consistently at 45 to an hour. So those small changes affect the big change over time because everything that we do in this fitness journey or anything that you do, period, is like a compounding effect. So it can go either way. It can compound and build for good, or it can compound and build for negative. So I'm slipping to the negative side, And I've been for these past few weeks. But I've been going at it with eyes wide open. And what I mean about that is I've been monitoring my reactions. I've been monitoring my actions fully to where if I go through a drive-thru to pick up something to eat, I'll still eat it because welcome to obesity. But I think about it. And I'm like, why am I here? Not to convince me to not go, right? Because I still ate the food. But I've never asked myself that. So intentionally, I'm asking myself, why am I here? What caused me to drive to this fast food place? What caused me to order that pizza? What caused me to order Chinese, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And there have been flickers of light in those moments because, this is something simple for a lot of you guys. But for me, this is the first time that I'm seeing it personally. And it's a great thing, I believe. So I went through the drive-thru and I got soda. I'm not a big soda drinker. I drink a lot of water. I average about a gallon a day. And when I was working out and hitting it, it was a gallon and a half plus. And please, before you go out, that's too much water. My body needed it. At any rate, I wanted a Coke. So pulling through the drive-thru at McDonald's, my wife's like, no, I don't want it. I'm like, all right, well, I want an iced tea. So I ordered 2 Cokes and an iced tea, forgetting that my wife didn't want one. So here I have 3 drinks, 2 Cokes and an unsweet tea. I like the unsweet tea. And my wife looks at me like, that's all you're going to drink? I'm like, well, here's your Coke. She's like, I didn't want any. And I'm like, oh. So the fat boy in me was like, yo, drink up, homie. Right? Because the Cokes are banging at McDonald's and the unsweet tea is one of my favorite drinks. So in my head, this is the process I went through. I'll drink the 2 Cokes and then the sweet tea I can save for later when I'm thirsty. I can hit that up. So I asked myself after that, dude, why are you here? Why have you come in through this drive-thru to get drinks? You don't hit me. I was like, man, you're an emotional eater. And there's many different aspects to emotional eating, but what I meant at that moment was you were thirsty, you've been working hard, you're all sweaty, you're hot because this, during this heat wave, and you wanted a drink and the Cokes are banging at McDonald's. So instead of going to a convenience store and getting water or some kind of electrolytic drink, I went and got a Coke because it was easy and it tastes good. And then the thought right after that is, bro, you got diabetes. What are you doing drinking all this sugar from the Cokes? And at this time, I had taken 2 sips. And I kid you not, just that internal conversation with myself, we were stopped. I opened the door and I dumped both Cokes out. Kept them back up, put them in the car, and I kept the unsweet tea. That was huge for me. I didn't celebrate it, but internally, I'm like, yeah, man. I gave myself an emotional high five. But that's one of the stories. I got a few others, and they'll come up as we're talking down in future videos, but that helped me to correct that one bad action. So it's not all lost, gentlemen. It's not always failure, failure, failure. What can you learn from those weak moments? What can you learn from those failed attempts? What can you learn that's going to solidify the ground you're standing on? Because we always feel like it's shaky ground, right? And we reach for something and it's all just to placate whether a feeling or a thought or an action that we did. Like, we just want comfort. And for me, a lot of times that's in the food. So Now knowing that, and this just happened a week ago. So for 7 weeks, it wasn't like that. This just happened to me. But now going forward, I have more mental fortitude and strength to maybe think about, why am I going to this place, instead of asking myself, why am I here, and already arriving at the place I shouldn't be. So with that, I want to, go down my flaws that I discovered in the last several weeks, in hopes that maybe some of you have the same ones, and this information can help you either gain the strength to overcome it, or help you to just identify that, hey, I have that too. That happens to me. So great. It's a resource for both of us to move forward. So my flaws, I just spoke about it. I'm an emotional eater. Hands down. I get too hot, I want to eat. I'm tired, I want to eat. I'm excited, I want to celebrate with food. I'm sad, I want to get something to eat that I like, that's comforting. And you go down the list, you'll see me like this in all different poses as you go down the list. Self-sabotage. I discovered that on myself. I should have grabbed my glasses. I can barely read this. Self-sabotage. I gravitate towards ease, hence the drive-thrus, right? Like, instead of going and getting a good snack, because now they even have good snacks at convenience stores. You can go to a gas station, convenience store, and they'll have beef sticks. They'll have no sugar, like, energy drinks if you need it. No added sugar. The, Jocko, Form Energy, others. But they have water or unsweet tea, right? Like, they have things now and that we can grab if we're ill-prepared, which I found myself a lot in not prepping my meals, but I'll get to that here soon. And that caused me to go to places where I shouldn't go. So I'm an emotional eater. I gravitate toward ease. I self-sabotage. And that meaning that your emotion, right? You start doing good. I started working out every day. Oh, sorry. That's a timer I had set. Something I had to do. But, I start doing well on certain things, and I kind of hit the cruise control. And I speed up and things are going good. And then I'm looking for, when's the next thing that's going to happen to make all this crumble? So I might come up with something. I might not work out or sleep in or eat something I shouldn't be eating. Like, just things like that. That's self-sabotage, because instead of just continuing to stay on the path to greatness and to things that are doing good, I'll find something that would trip me up. So that's on me. Complacency starts to creep in. That's for sure. I've seen that happen a few times. Again, that cruise control. You start doing good for a while and you're kind of like, oh, I'm dropping weight. So, the things that got you there, you stop doing them. Maybe not completely, but you're not doing them as intentionally as you have been to get you to where you're currently at. So complacency starts to set in. I might, my workouts might not as intentional. I might slack on and start, not chasing that workout, I'm just there, which in itself, it's productive because I'm getting there. But, that's old news. I've been getting there for a few weeks. So it's the workout now. And I kind of just hit the cruise control and not do as many sets or as many reps, cut the workout time down because I have other things I have to do, right? So that complacency starts to set in. I'm sitting around more because I got my workout in instead of continuing to push. So if you got time, I have a treadmill in my house. So I can do 20 minutes on the treadmill anytime, but complacency started setting in. And speaking of treadmill, I was on there 2 weeks ago. And it's a funny story. I'll get back to this. And all I do is walk on the treadmill right now. I don't really run. I might lightly jog, but I don't even count that because I'm not going super fast. So I got done my 2 miles and I'm in cool down. So I'm walking. I think it's going like 2 miles an hour, slow. I stepped off to do something. I don't know if it was to mess with the dogs, something. And I forgot the belt was still spinning. So I stepped on the back edge of the treadmill and it kicked me out. And I landed on my elbow. So I picked up myself. And I'm trying to pick myself up. This thing's going. But my leg where I landed, the belt end is running on my shin, just rubbing continually. Like it doesn't stop. And it shaved my skin to the white meat. So that's taken 2.5 weeks or whatever now to heal. It's still scabbed. I don't want to show you. But these things happen, right? So all of that to say, I haven't been on the treadmill since that incident. Why not? I'm not bleeding. It's not infected. I'm taking care of it. I can walk. But case in point, you get complacent, you look for excuses, self-sabotage. I'm going to wait till this heals before I step on the treadmill. So tomorrow, I'm getting on the treadmill. But back to the list. Late eating. That's a major one that I recently started doing because I don't recall being a late eater. We usually eat dinner early and by 6, 7, we're done. And these last 3.5 weeks, off and on, I've been eating at like 10 o'clock at night, 11. And then I lay down and go to bed. Like, what's up with that? So I had to sit with, and think about like, what is it that's causing me to eat late? It's not stress because I'm not stressing more than I normally am. Yes, being an entrepreneur is stressful, but you kind of get used to the stress level at the level of game that you've been playing. I'm not chasing anything new right now because I'm trying to focus on my fitness. However, I found myself that I've been eating late. So these are the main things that I've discovered during these past 8 weeks that are flaws. So I'll just repeat them real quick. Emotional eating, gravitate toward ease, self-sabotage, complacency starts to creep in, and late eating. 5 things that when they're working in unison, just destroy everything I try to build as far as fitness. I'm sure these can bleed into other areas, but my focus for this series is my fitness. Again, I want to age capable. How's that, you might ask? Well, I have these 5 flaws that I discovered over the last several weeks. The way to move past them is to do the opposite. So if I'm an emotional eater, then I need to develop daily habits that produce a beneficial outcome to any emotion I'm experiencing. Instead of gravitating towards food, maybe I'll gravitate towards, a carnivore bar or keto bar, or gravitate towards another workout, an extra set. Like, I need to reframe what my emotions dictate I should do. I think that's going to handle the emotional eating part. Also, managing stress. I think that's part of the emotion. So the way I can manage stress is by daily Bible reading. If you start your day and you crack open God's word and you start reading, and then you do a little bit of research on that chapter that you read on the Bible, you can't help but to reduce anxiety and stress because you have that mind of Christ being enabled and at work in you. Also, wake up with gratitude. 1 to 3 things. If I wake up in the morning, alarm kicks off, my eyes are bothering because of the smoke that's outside due to these Canadian fires. I can't even imagine what they're going through out there. That's terrible. So wake up with gratitude. When you wake up, your alarm goes off, you wake up, instead of saying, oh man, another day. Wake up. I wake up and I immediately say a prayer, thanking God for the day that he has granted me. Then I think about the things that I have and start expressing gratitude in that prayer. And if I'm thinking about somebody, then shoot him a text or message. Say, hey, I've been thinking about you. Hope everything's well. You don't have to make this drawn out, dramatic text. Just tell them, hey, I've been thinking about you. I remembered that one time you did this for me. And dude, that's solid. That's it. It can be that simple. But mentally, it's going to change your attitude, your emotions, because it's going to reframe how you start your day. Boredom is another thing that would drive me to eat. So I know, and I'm going to start this weekend, is planning things to do to combat that boredom. So I want to have my calendar for the day. So if I'm getting up at 5, my goal is to get up at 4. And 5:30 has been a struggle. Why? Probably because I've been eating late. So there's always a chain effect to the results of what's happening with you. And I'm starting to learn this. So I want to have in my calendar what I'm going to do from the time I wake up to it's time for me to lay down and go to bed. And then, there'll be blocks of time because obviously I work. So that whole time I'm going to be working. But what am I doing before and after? I want to have something in there. And yes, my workout's going to be there, but I want to have other things. After my workout, what do? I want to have my day structured so I don't have to guess or come up with something to do when I'm bored, reach for my phone, and doom scroll or my tablet or get on my computer. I want to be productive. So the way to manage that is have my day completely scheduled out. And that includes time with the family, time with the wife, date night. I'm going to start with my day to day, but I want to have a week planned out where the major things are structured are put in first, and then I structure the rest around it. So in congruency with this channel and the movement that I want to push ahead is going to be under those 4 pillars: faith, family, fitness, and finance. So I want to have those put in throughout every day for the week so I can see it, and then where there's space, fill in other things that are productive. Time to read, time to write, time to record, put my thoughts on paper or, do some research on AI. Just keep my mind going because I'm a type 2 diabetic, but there's a type 3 diabetic that affects your brain. And I believe that's Alzheimer's. I don't want to fall into that. So I need to keep my brain functioning, my brain busy to things that create growth. So that's one way to do it. I want to do my calendar. And I think that'll help too with eliminating self-sabotage because I'm so busy, and not in a bad way. I'm productively busy. So it's going to feel good and it will affect my emotions. So you see how these are all interlinked? Eating late. How can I combat that? Well, at dinner time, eat a nutritious meal and enough of it to where I'm not hungry 4 or 5 hours later. Now, I'm not saying be a glutton and gorge, but let's say I'm trying to convert my eating into a more hyper carnivore or completely carnivore style of eat. So if I'm going to eat, I'm going to make sure that I have enough meat on the plate and fats to keep me satiated much longer than if I were to have a 4-ounce piece of steak and some greens or, veggies and whatever else. So if I only have this much surface area on my plate, I want about 80% of it to be meat. And then some veggies if I choose to have them. That's what I want to eat. And I think that's going to help me greatly in eliminating not only my late night escapades to the kitchen, but also my cravings for something sweet, which is going to help me with my diabetes. So that's the plan. And hydration. Yes, that's another thing that I've been letting gradually slip throughout these weeks. A couple of years ago, I started really focusing on hydration, and I got to where a gallon was normal for me. I was on a daily. Started working out. Once I started working out and things, the weather got warmer and I started sweating more, I increased it to 1.25 gallons, 1.5 gallons. Sometimes I've hit almost 2 gallons, not every day, but it depends how much water I think my body needs. But on an average, I'm drinking just over 1 gallon a day. These last few weeks, I haven't reached 1 gallon. So I noticed that my hydration has been lowering. I think that's also causing me to feel hungry when I'm not hungry. So I'm going to focus on my hydration. So, and if I keep looking down because I try to keep everything in this notebook. So my plan of action going forward is to get better sleep at a regular time for bed. Wake up at the same time. We'll put 0500 for now, but my goal is 4. Plan out my week on a daily schedule. That makes sense? Plan out week/daily. Okay. Eat more beef. To me, I know that means a more nutritionally dense meal to stop late and cravings. Yeah, that's 3 things. Hydration. Minimum 1 gallon water. So those 4 things I'm going to focus on, and that'll be my focus this week. So next week's video, I'll give you an update. Hopefully the numbers on the scale change, but that's not my focus right now. I need to get these habits and routines on point. So thank you for your attention. I appreciate it. I don't want to keep this too long, but these were things that I feel that not only I experience them, or they not only affect me, I believe they affect a lot of you out there too. So stay with it. Don't quit. I'm Joksan Morales. I thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Stay safe.